Welcome, bonus video number 4. We're going to deal with um, deploying the application to the web. You'll see here we're at an HTTPS to do tutorial youtube.herokuapp.com. We're no longer at localhost, so this app is up on the web, and we can still do everything with the app that we could do before. We can do all the speech recognition stuff. We can add all the stuff. Again, you have to be on Google Chrome for the speech recognition stuff to work. But it's all good. Let's say record. We already did that. Erase that. I'll make it again just to test out. Record bonus video 4. Everything is working as it should be. So how do we set this up? The first thing you want to do is go to Heroku. Just Google search Heroku. Heroku. And then create an account. You can, with a free account, you can have up to 5 applications online. And when you add a credit card, you can still stay on the free tier, and then you get 200 applications. And then it goes monthly. They give you a monthly amount of uptime, and if you go past that, your apps stop unless you upgrade and start paying for it. So they're not going to charge you if you give your credit card until you upgrade your plan. So it's a pretty cool deal. You get extra uptime when you give them the credit card. And now they know you're only one click away from buying stuff. So in any event, so how do we do this? We have to change a bunch of things. In our package JSON on our outer app here, on our main app, we want to add this engines tag here, and everyone's going to be different. You want to run in your terminal node-v or npm-v, and you'll get your versions of node and npm. And I just like to keep the environment the same, so I pass in engines. It's an object, give it a node and the npm, and just put the version in there. So that's the first thing to do. Of course, you can add a name, author, and all this stuff. In your scripts, we changed our start script. I'm calling it dev now. And then our start script is just going to be one app when we run it online. So it's just going to be node index.js. And then there's a special Heroku post build script that we'll get into. So the Heroku post build script goes into the client directory, runs npm install, gets the dependencies. And then npm install and npm run build. So basically, we're installing our dependencies for our outer application, and then we're installing our inner application, and we're also running build in there. So if you cd into the client directory, you look in the client at its package JSON, you'll see that it has a build. Create React app has a build script. So if you're in the client directory and you run npm run build, this is how you get, and it's going to take a couple minutes, but this is how you get a production build of your app. So right now we're just dealing with all these separate JavaScript files. And see, it's already created a build directory for us. It's going to take the public directory, which is the HTML file and the icons, and then it's going to bundle Webpack behind the scenes. It's going to bundle all of our JavaScript and CSS and images and everything else into CSS and JS files for us. And we'll take a look at that build directory. It's done now. So it makes all this stuff for us. CSS, a media file. We don't have any. Actually, we have some fonts in the media file. It gives us a couple JS files. Well, a JS file and a map of that JS file. CSS file. So these are our production. This is our production stuff right here. And it's in the git ignore. You don't want to send your build folder up it's already set up in Create React App. So this is your final production build. So we have to tell Heroku to do that. So we don't have to do any of that on our end. All we have to do is make some changes to our app here. So in our index.js file, one thing we can do is we don't need cores anymore because we're all in one. The system is on one server now. Before we had a dev server running the client and a server running our GraphQL on 3000 and 3001. Now we only need that in development, so we use this process.environment.node env. If it doesn't equal production, we enable the cores. If it is production, which automatically gets placed in there on Heroku, we don't need cores. And this is the big thing here. Down below are two app.use, graphical and GraphQL. We want to have, if process environment, node environment is production, app.use express.static client/build. And then app.get asterisk root handler, rec and res, returns a function, and it res.send file, and we use that path module. If you don't have it brought in, just import, it's a native module, just import path from path. I don't even have it in there and it still worked. Anyways, you want to take const path equals require path under most circumstances. That's weird. I don't know why it's working without that. I guess it automatically figured that out. But anyway, path.resolve client, build, index.html. That's just telling it the path to find the static file. It's always going to keep serving the index.html, and that's React does the rest through the JS file. I bundled all that JavaScript in our React into one JavaScript file, and that's what's going to handle everything for us in our app. So that's important. Another key is now we're using keys.port instead of 3001 here. So in our config directory, I made an index.html. So we use that production variable of the node environment. If it equals production, we export the prod, and that's a new folder. Otherwise, we export the dev. So in the prod folder, you just say process.env.mlab key, and port is process.environment.port. And we'll deal with those on Heroku. In the dev folder, we keep it the same, except we add port 3001. So we just have to get this, since we're using the same, you can create a new production mlab if you want. I'm just using the same one just for convenience. So on Heroku, once you create your app, you can go in, this is the dashboard, you can go into your app, into settings, and config vars, and you can add that mlab key and no quotes around it, paste in your mlab URL here and hit add. We don't have to do the port because port is automatically randomly assigned by Heroku for us. And to deploy it, you go click over and look at the deploy options. You do it just like Git, except you have to add a remote. And you have to have the Heroku toolbelt installed on your machine. So you want to make sure you have the Heroku toolbelt installed on your machine, and you can find that on the Heroku site. And that's pretty much how you get your app up on Heroku.